Hello Mindfulness Project family, Advent's calendar time again from Khon Kaen Museum is time for another wisdom story. And it's the 17th of December, so just 5 days to Christmas. I hope that you don't need any gifts anymore, that you don't have to run around like a chicken with a head cut off. I remember Christmas was the time before was always very, very stressful, but it was my own choice. So just get away from consumerism and just open your heart to the people you want to do something good for. So I have another story for you, and this is actually the favorite story, Nasruddin story of my teacher, Ajahn Somchai, and he told this story many times in the meditation retreat, and it was really, really interesting. He was just laughing his head off. And it was just when you're in a meditation retreat, your mind is very open. And, we couldn't stop laughing about this. So the story's name is The Crowd at Home. So Nasruddin was often thought out by people of his town for advice, because he was a very smart and wise person. One day, one of his neighbors came to Nasruddin and lamented, "I'm really having trouble having my family live together in our small house. It's myself, my wife, my 3 kids, and my mother-in-law, all sharing the same little cottage. Nasruddin, you are a wise man. What do you think I should do?" Thought Nasruddin for a minute. Then he asked, "Do you have any chickens in your yard?" The man was a bit surprised by the question, but answered, "I have 10. "Put them in the house," said Nasruddin. "But Mullah," the man exclaimed, "our house is already crammed as it is." "You asked me for my advice. This is my advice. Just try it," replied Nasruddin. The man, desperately to find a solution to his woes, followed Nasruddin's advice. A couple of days later, he visited Nasruddin again. "Mullah," he said in a pained voice, "things are even worse now. With the chickens in the house, we're even more pressed for space. They shit everywhere. They make everything dirty. They make a lot of noise. They wake us up in the morning. It's a mess." "Do you have any donkeys?" Nasruddin asked. The neighbor was surprised again at this question. "I have one," he replied. "Well then, take that donkey of yours and bring it into the house," Nasruddin advised. The man's eyes widened and he bemoaned and objected. But after a while, Nasruddin convinced him to try his way. A couple of days later, the man, now looking disheveled and more distressed than ever, came back to Nasruddin. "Now my home is even more crowded. Between my family, the chickens, and that donkey of mine, there's barely any room to move. With all the noise and the smell of the animals, we can hardly sleep," cried the neighbor. He's really nearly lost his mind. "I see." Nasruddin said after a minute of thought, "Well then, do you have any other animals in your yard?" "Yes," the man replied slowly, "we have a goat." "Great," said Mullah. "Take the goat in your house too." The man blew up at Nasruddin in frustration. He fumed and fussed and seemed anything but eager to follow Nasruddin's advice. But once again, Nasruddin pursued the man to try his idea one last time. The very next day, the man, now fuming and angry, came up to Nasruddin and exclaimed, "My family is really upset now. Everyone is at my throat complaining about the lack of space. Your plan is a terrible one and is making us nothing but miserable. If you can't come up with an alternative idea, I'm going to let them come here themselves and have their way with you." "Perfect," Nasruddin replied. "It is now time to take all of the animals back outside." With big of relief, the man followed Nasruddin's final advice. The next day, as Nasruddin was going on his daily walks, he ran into the neighbor. "So, how are things now?" Nasruddin asked. The neighbor was beaming. "Mullah, your plan has worked like a charm. With all the animals out, my house is so spacious that we can't believe we complained about the cottage before. We are all living so happily now." Nasruddin smiled. So, another one of these beautiful stories of, a man who just starts complaining about things which are actually not a problem. Do you know that in our countries? I mean, I'm from Germany. This is basically our day-to-day experience. We complain about the weather. We complain about, having a too small house, or that this is bad and that is bad. If we don't have a job, we complain about it. If we have a job, we complain about it. So complaining is part of our nature. And what is missing is actually, the idea of being happy with what we have. This gratitude and this kind of being, don't taking too much from nature, don't consuming too much, is one of the most important things. And what we need is to start to come to a mind state of contentment, that we just really realize what we have, and that we don't need anything else to be happy. And it was really, really touching, because when the first lockdown of Corona was taking place, the whole world was shut down. And we were with, 21 people in the Mindfulness Project. We were not allowed to go out. It was kind of the same situation, a little bit like this man. We all felt a little bit trapped. Suddenly things became a little bit unsettling, and, we were not allowed to go anywhere. And that was quite hard. And then I got a message from Marie. She was working in a refugee camp in Greece. And she said, here we have families of 6 people, and they have to be locked in a little tent. Just imagine, just no space. And she said they all took it with so much grace and so much equanimity and being relaxed with it, because they said, everything we had before was so much worse, that we had to worry for our life, that we didn't know, where we get our next food and stuff like this. So it's all kind of putting your life into perspective and seeing what you have. So I hope that works for you. And our task for you guys today is every day we try to make you do something to become a little bit more wise. So just write down, what are you thankful in your life right now? And try to really focus not on the possessions you have, because that's very impermanent. Just really see the connections, the people, the love you have, but even more, try to look inside, about the heart, the beauty, the grace you have. And that's something we can be thankful for. Our health can be something what we could be thankful for. Thank you guys so much. It's really a pleasure. In the end of the year, I like to look back of what has happened, and again when I look back, I see how much support and power and energy and thankfulness you give to us. So this Advent calendar is our way to give back. If you like this one, give us a thumb up, show us some love, and we would be happy to see you on Patreon. And if you want to help us in our really, really difficult situation right now, maybe you also want to donate some money to the Mindfulness Project so that we can do some serious reforestation. That's our next goal. And we need all the help we can to make a difference in this world and for our environment. Guys, enjoy the last days before Christmas, and then it's holiday and a lot of eating, hopefully. Thank you.